Hello, 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 and welcome in to Bear With Us on the Bear Claw Media Podcast. I am Chris Bolin, and we are brought to you by Crave Hot Dogs and Barbecue in Greeley, Colorado, offering specialty all-beef hot dogs, savory barbecue and sides, plus a self-pour beer wall. Perfect setting for family outings or a night with friends. Stop by and hashtag Beat the Craving today. I am joined, as always, by Ben Schleiger. Ben, how you doing, buddy?
Oof. I mean, it was a good weekend, but man, the great thing is we can say the season's been exciting. It's just been exciting in some heart-wrenching ways.
Funny you say that because immediately after the game, not immediately, but after the game, we finish up post game and team comes out of the locker room. Hank Gibbs walks by and he's like, UNC Bears are must see TV every week, man, if nothing else.
Mm.
And it's true. Like it's they've been down to the last possession in 5 of 7, and the two that they haven't were both comfortable wins, I would say. So yeah, a 40-35 loss to Sac State. If you're listening to this, I'm pretty sure you probably know that by now. But UNC had the ball driving with a 2-minute drill, which they've done several times this year. But the play it came down to, 4th and 1 from about the 1 or maybe the 3-yard line, I think. But goal line situation, more or less. 4th and 1. Looked like it was they called a slant. I think it was an RPO. Ends up pulling it. Gibson throws it, deflected, not particularly close necessarily. But what were your thoughts on that one, Ben?
I'm just gonna give that one a moment of silence. All right, silence has passed. Geez, dude, it's shades of Seattle losing the Super Bowl. It's shades of stupid decisions gone wrong. It's shades of it was a smart play call to try to risk and win the game, but was it worth winning the game on that play? Yeah, I don't know. You know, Monday morning quarterback is always right, and that's always us. But gosh, in that game time decision when Price and Johnson had just been getting chunk plays on those last two drives. It's hard to not wonder. You put in a heavy package, you put in a Rhino package. Yeah, even Ryan Wesley, shout out. He was on the UNC pity wagon with us on Twitter. What if Gibson just runs up to the line last minute, does some like try to draw him off sides and then just takes a sneak? Like, just so many things of like felt like there was higher percentage options that were left in the dust, but at the end of the day, we're not coach. But man, it just feels like another one of those like that wasn't the popular decision, but they made it, and this time it didn't go their way.
Yeah, I think it's fair to criticize it. I think they were in a no-win situation. The only way they could win was literally was to get the first down. No matter what play they called, if it worked, it was right. If it didn't, it was wrong. Because I think if they would have called a run, just a handoff to Price, and then it gets stuffed, the criticism will be they learned nothing from the South Dakota game where they were stopped 3 times in a row, and the play just before they handed off to Price, and he was kind of stood up at the line on the 3rd and 1. So I didn't love the way it played out. But if it was an RPO, I like having the option. I'm assuming it was Gibson's call to pull it. I think it was. I think Cheeks was kind of getting interfered with, but also I think it was close enough to the line of scrimmage that it was a good no call. So I'm not going to try to bitch about that. But I don't know if I love the idea of the heavy package, because I think that's when maybe I'm just forgetting all the times it worked, but I remember vividly all the times it hasn't worked. So I'm not a huge fan of that on a game deciding play. I wouldn't have hated just another handoff to Price because they only had, I think, 4 down linemen. I think there was probably a run blitz on the inside, which is, I assume, what Gibson saw to pull it. But I I wouldn't have hated a quick snap, like run up to the line and sneak it, because I think you probably get there before the linebackers, maybe. But just another tough one. Like it fun to be in all these games, and it's fun that we're so competitive, but it's just another heart-wrenching loss that I think if any other, we were like built for this uniquely, Ben, like you, and not me and you, but UNC fans, because if this was happening even to like an Eastern Washington, who impressive win this week but disappointing season overall, I'd say, I feel like this would break an average fan base, but we've been forged in the 0-11, 1-11, 2-9 seasons, plenty over the years. So I'm still very positive about this team, I guess, is my overarching point of all that.
We're BIMs, baby. We're battle tested in misery. BTIM. But yeah, we're forged in misery and despair, and damn, that would have been nice. I mean, this one was much better because obviously, like, we're competitive. We're 3-4. Should be 4-3 in the season. Hashtag CSU. Hashtag. I'm glad that Jay Norvell's gone, and I hope we had a part of it. So, yeah, just a little shit talking on him. I hope that we helped in the Norvell pity train on the way out and showing that CSU is mediocre. But getting back to the other green team who actually deserved the win. Yeah, it was a good game. It's 4 interceptions, and just Gibson has been playing lights out this season, and he had 2 unlucky ones where I don't think that he had a good line of sight. With that linebacker being there. And then the other one, Ricky Lee, the third, I think. He
Yeah.
just jumped the shit out of that route. Like he came out of nowhere and he was gone, and that was 6 points the other way. That one just sucked. The other one, I think we can kind of both agree either Monroe stopped running or he kind of lost positioning on the ball, which we've seen that before. And it's, not shitting on Monroe. It's just he had a little hesitation and the defender didn't, and that just made the difference on who got the ball.
Yeah, that one felt like I think I said it before we started recording. Gibson's thrown like 50 of those, like fade balls, like 50-50 balls. Come down with like 30 of them. 19 have been incomplete, and that one was picked. So I can live with that. I don't know if Monroe stopped running, but I think he definitely lost position, and like the the cornerback just elevated right over the top of him. I See, I almost feel like the slant that went off of River Stout's hands in the first quarter, I think, is more of an unlucky one than those other two across the middle. 'Cause you're right, like good plays on the ball, especially the Ricky Lee one was the deep, or not Ricky Lee, but the one you were talking about was the deeper crossing route, right? And the safety just stepped up. That
Yeah, safety stepped up and just took it to the house.
Oh yeah, and then then that was the shorter one. But nonetheless,
Okay.
I feel like those are balls where like good plays, but I think you have to kind of know those guys are there. And trust me, Ben, I'm willing to forgive Eric Gibson Jr. I feel no worse about him as our starting quarterback now than I did coming into this game. But I think the way I'm looking at it, probably because of all the 2-9 seasons, we threw 4 interceptions, including a pick six, and had every chance to win it at the end. Um, it, you, which I think, if you throw 4 interceptions, you probably don't deserve to win. But I think it kind of shows that UNC was maybe the better team. Like, am I crazy in saying that?
I mean, everybody will call us homers for it and come with pitchforks and fire, but
Yeah.
we're ready, baby. We're ready. Yeah, no, I would say so. If like mistakes are both lessons on the same sides, I feel like it still benefits us in the long run. So I know Sac State was better with the ball overall. I mean, it's not like they did anything impressive through the air. Just like I thought it was going to be Rodney Hammond Jr. he was a beast. He's just one of those stutter backs that has that hesitation and fantastic vision. And unfortunately, that combined with a bit of nastiness and falling forward, he was a perfect storm, just like a lot of other running backs were. He was just uniquely talented in that, like, hesitate, wait behind his blockers, and choose where he's going. And by the time he's done that, it's already 6 yards or worse. So unfortunately, he was extremely talented, and that really put a damper on our thing. Um, I think again, Matthias Price, like shout out, he's kind of been our workhorse back. I'd like to see Johnson and Gwynn worked in more, but obviously, like their stats don't necessarily liken them to getting those extra reps quite yet.
Brandon Johnson did score 2 touchdowns for what it's worth. Like he
He
got
did,
high value
yeah.
carries, I guess we could say.
I think he's great at those short yardage situations. It's just like just for that grinding, just getting after it. Also, like 28 yards for a long, like that's got to be one of Price's best runs of the season.
And
Um,
I sorry not to cut you off, but like that was such an impressive run. There was like I
is
think
that
I
where he
said
shut off like five different
yeah,
guys during it?
yeah,
That was nasty.
I think I said like you hear a lot about like a running back never being touched, but I don't think there was a single moment after he crossed the line of scrimmage that he was not being touched on that run, and he still managed to drag a couple defenders at a time for 28 yards. That was on that. Was that on the last drive too? Or maybe it was fourth quarter for sure. I don't know if it was the last drive or the
I
second
think it
to
was
last
fourth
drive.
quarter. But yeah, no, like Price doing that was crazy. Absolutely looked just like Marshawn Lynch esque. Um,
Truly,
just love the effort out of him, and I think it's helped us a lot having now that he's healthy, having him as kind of like our like workhorse back, and then we can kind of work in Gwynn and Johnson. Do you know anything about Rocco? Is Rocco hurt for an
I
extended amount of time?
so I believe I'm saying it was a hyperextension just based on me watching it bend backwards. I don't know what like the official diagnosis is. It happened in Houston Christian, and from
Okay.
all accounts, he's just still not quite. I think he's like could play, but since there's so much depth, they're not rushing him back. Is
Yeah, I'm
the
guessing
vibe I've
that's why
gotten.
we saw Curious Boone so much, and I guess we might have to watch maybe a pitch count on him because like he's already been in at least two games, if not three. So I think he's got one
I
more unless
think
he wants to
he
continue. Has
I
he been
think he
in four
might
games?
because I'm pretty sure he's played every game starting at Houston Christian. But he also might. I thought he was an older guy, to be honest. I didn't. He's listed as yeah. He was a JUCO guy, so he probably could redshirt, but I don't know if like that's as valuable to him. You know?
Oh, never mind. He's listed as junior.
Yeah.
It's probably the other running back that we had to use during
Number 28. I can't think of his name, but I
Lambert.
know. Yeah, Sacramento guy. Learned that over the weekend. He went to high school in Sacramento.
Okay, so never mind. Use the shit out of Curious Boone. Um, yeah, with that being like maybe some JUCO experience and whatnot, use the shit out of him. He's been interesting. Not a lot of like huge progress so far, but interesting to have another back to work in there. Um, Justin
And
Gwynn would like to see more of him. Like I guess just would like to see more of the running backs in total, but at the same time, whenever Gibson is getting the ball, he's moving it down the field very well. Also
yeah,
love
and
that 75-yard um, touchdown where he just like dude was just gone. Like that was awesome. It was like yes, we're back in it. We got some life. That was just a nice little shot in the veins right there.
100%. Yeah, yeah. I thank you for bringing that up because we have to get to Carver Cheeks. It's been too long already, quite frankly. But last thing I have about the running backs is they use four guys, and last year it felt like they were kind of just willy nilly with how they. It wasn't willy nilly, obviously, but that was kind of the feeling that was around the running back room. We have talked about it a lot. How everybody just felt a little dissatisfied. This year, it feels like they're using them really well. Especially, like I don't want to say especially since Rocco went down, but I think when they have like the tight four that they're using, and they all kind of complement each other. They're pretty similar, but they have their unique. Like Matthias Price is bigger. Brandon Johnson's really physical, but a little smaller and like mightier, I would say. And Gwynn and Boone are a little quicker and shiftier, but it feels like there's just a good rotation and vibes feel good in the running back room, even though maybe the carry distribution is kind of similar to last year. And maybe that's just the fact that the team's doing much better. But Carver Cheeks, 9 carries or 9 catches, 223 yards, long as 75, like you said. That was the second one that he just got behind the defense on. And I think both were maybe the secondary misplaying it just a bit, but like great throws, great catches, and just love to see him taking it to the house. I believe that is third most in the Division One era, 223 yards. The number one is 315 yards, and Brooke did not tell me who did that. But shout out for her for digging that stat up. I texted her like during the game, and she pulled it. But I think having Braden Monroe back really opens up the passing game. Even if Carver Cheeks is the main beneficiary of that, I think having a threat on both sides really keeps the defense honest.
Yeah, and also like Carver Cheek should be up for some sort of player of the week. I know we lost, but like, come on, 9 for 20 for 223 and 3 touchdowns. Like that's stupid work right there.
No, truly. And the, Carver Cheeks is going to be in the portal like 20 minutes before it opens. I hate to say it, but he's earned it too. I can't even be mad. I think I said the same thing last week, but and it just there's a lot of excitement behind this offense. It's moving the ball. The fact that we scored 35 points and it felt like we left a lot out there. That's exciting. It is still very big play dependent, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing with how consistently we've been able to make those big plays. And I think we have some guys that can do it. Um, the
Well,
defense,
and Chris, I think you'll have to walk back here. Um, your earlier award this season of best person to throw the outside fade, because I think we have a new guy in Eric Gibson. Him to Cheeks, I would say, is almost an elite connection in the FCS as a whole. I'm
oh
sure
yeah,
there's a couple more fat statters out there that get a
Derek
bit more
Robinson from
yards and
Monmouth.
production than what we have. But as far as just like consistency, like for that to be an easy 30 yards each time is just nuts. That's for us to even have a go-to play that's 30 yards as a Bears fan base, absolutely nuts.
It is crazy how often that works because every time I'm like it probably shouldn't work like this,
Oh
but
yeah.
it consistently does. I think Sac State played it better than any other team. They had like a safety over the top constantly, and it was always it was a little hairier, but it still worked out a lot of the time. So, but the thing I think that is going to still haunt the Bears moving down the stretch is the rush defense. Like you talked about it. Rodney Hammond, what did he have here? 134 yards. They've gave up two, I think 30 or 40 plus yard touchdowns on touchdown runs on just straight handoffs on fourth down. And I think both were 4th and 5 or more. Like
Both were fourth and sixes.
it was crazy. Like, and I saw Sac State fans on Twitter after the game. They were tweeting during the game, but I saw it after, and they were like, "Can we please pass the ball?" And every time in this booth, and I'm sure same with you, that they drop back to throw the ball, I was like, "Thank
Yeah.
God!" Like,
Yeah. Yeah, let's watch this be a failure. Yeah, Rodney Hammond Jr. was a beast. Also, like we can't fault Jaquel Smith either. 17 for 106. Like that hurts a lot as
that,
well.
that's real
Um,
good.
Sam Adams the second. He was one of those fourth and sixers, I believe. The other
Yeah,
one was Rodney Hammond. So overall, yeah, we have not figured out how to stop the bleeding. I think that's a conference wide thing. I don't think it's unique to us. Um, there is a couple teams who have found a couple niches to the run defense, but overall, like I don't think it's unique that we're the only ones struggling with this, and that teams are, as we talked about in previous podcasts, teams are switching across the conference to a athletic quarterback and a run heavy set, just because that's just kind of that's how the pendulum swings. Like we go from like spread quarterback air raid offense needing those Cooper Cups, needing those Efton Chisholms, to now we have Rodney Hammond Juniors and Matthias Prices and other the big fat 28 from Idaho State, that big motherfucking truck.
I think that's only when they're playing us.
Well, that
Eli
dude was
Gilman, I think, is the
he
third
looks
guy you're
like a
looking for.
killdozer against us. So congrats to him. He had 1 week of fame. But yeah, in general, not looking great at the run defense stats. But something that will make you happy, Chris, is all three of our premier linebackers. Outside of KJ Smedley, I'd say he's premier as well, but he didn't get as many snaps. We had three linebackers leading the charge in the tackles department, Chris.
I,
Finally, Chapa was not the lone man leading the safeties charge, as Chris is likened to point out that UNC only has a leading tackler of a safety all the way back to Stone Kane in our days.
Yeah, I've always said we'll know the turnaround is at least taking like hold when our leading tackler is not a safety. And I'm glad you brought that up because it does feel good. Yeah, Voguser, it's nice to see. It feels like Nowatzki's finally getting back closer to 100%. He still has the cast or the wrap on his hand, but he feels more comfortable out there. Um, and even though we aren't talking about Cam Chapa, I think Cam Chapa, like, thank God he leads the team in tackles, because if he didn't, I think we'd probably maybe have only won one game, because he stopped at least.
Oh,
I
he
don't
had he
even.
had a lot of touchdown
I don't even
saving
want to
efforts.
He's probably stopped like 30 to 40 touchdowns. Like he's the last line of defense on 30 to 40 touchdowns this year. Like obviously some of them were much easier than others and he just had to like shove them out of bounds, but it's wild. I don't remember him missing a tackle this year. Like surely if you want to dig you can find the film, but I think he's probably the best tackler, just the best open field tackler, the best at just getting a guy on the ground by himself, because some of the big boys are going to struggle with shiftier backs, but we seem to miss a lot of tackles towards the line of scrimmage.
I mean, as you say that, he did tie with Keenan Guthrie, who we saw some decent production out of this week. Been a little bit quiet on the Keenan Guthrie front this year. Nice to see him finally getting a little bit more shine again. But yeah, tied for solo tackles, it was Guthrie and Chapa at 6. As for total tackles, Hudson Vogelser, he wanted a little piece of everybody's action. He had 12 assisted tackles, finished the game with 16 tackles overall and a pass breakup. I think he's been one of those. We highlighted him early in the season in the linebacker segment as like this is a guy that needs to step up whenever Guthrie, Nowatzki, and Smedley aren't on the field prevalently. Is that he needed to be up there. I think he's done a great job replacing Zach while he's been kind of rehabbing, figuring out what he can do with his club and whatnot. And Smedley, I don't know if he's just kind of been worked down in the depth chart or just trying to keep him on a pitch count. But having those two paired with Guthrie in there, I think those guys were doing a great job at limiting all that they could. Obviously, run defense, we still need to get better, but having our top tacklers being 16 with a pass breakup, 13 with a tackle for a loss, and 9 with a tackle for a loss and a sack, I like seeing that. Would have liked to have seen a bit more sacks, but
They
um,
didn't throw the ball that much, really.
they
There
didn't
was a
throw it
lot of
much,
pressure when they did, though. So if you
and
could have converted one or two more of those, I think it would have probably helped a lot.
Williams was pretty shifty. He was pretty athletic. Got to give him credit there. So 3 sacks against an athletic quarterback seems pretty good. And then we had just about 5 or 6 tackles for a loss overall. So again, we need to get more of those if we want to get the run defense a little bit some more stout, a little bit less, um, our Achilles heel per se. But at the same time, like, you know, looking at the longs, there was longs in there that really killed us, the 46 and the 34. So, you
I
put
think
that
both of
together.
those were the fourth down runs. I might be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure those were the two fourth down runs, which makes
Yeah,
it that much more backbreaking. It just proves your point even more.
one of them definitely was for Sam Adams. So, I mean, you take those away, that's 80 yards off of the total. We're still sitting at 284. That's still way too much giving up
Oh,
on
yeah.
the run. But, take out the two longest, that it makes it look a lot worse or a lot better.
Yeah, and UNC 101st out of 129 teams in rush yards allowed heading into last weekend, and they were at 291, I believe. I could grab the notebook out of my backpack, but it's in the other room. And what did they give up this week? 323. So they're only going to kind of move down those rankings. But you're right. There is a lot of talent. And, LJ Phillips also heavily contributes to that. And he has at least continued that on throughout not just games in which he was playing us. But yet, I think anything else you want to touch on this one, Ben? Any kind of closing thoughts? My overarching take is probably the same as it was after maybe the South Dakota loss. I would say is I feel like I'm not as disappointed that we didn't pull this one out because I didn't expect to. But I think so. I think it's like an expectations thing that the way we competed. I'm still very excited about where the program is, and I've said it for a while. I think Montana State is further from Montana than I think UC Davis is much more gettable than the number 6 besides their name would indicate. I guess that's the way I want to say it. And this game only encouraged me about our odds in that one.
Yeah, so this one, there's like two pluses and two minuses for me. Two pluses, 7 of 13 for third down conversions. Really like that. That's a lot better than some of our past games. So just kind of keeping away from fourth down, getting more involved in the game. Obviously, the points is ridiculous, like 35. Like this is markedly a different UNC team
This
just
is a
based on
wet dream
scoring.
based on what
Um,
we've seen in years past.
Oh yeah, 100%. But also like played very clean. 2 for 25 in penalties. Obviously one of those being an unsportsmanlike. Don't like that. Saying the late hit after the play. Eh, don't love that. Don't need to see any more of that. But he did get yanked. I think it was Frankie, and he got yanked off the
He
field
got
and
off
talked
for a
to.
couple plays at least, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that got cleaned up. But also like 2 for 25 besides one being unsportsmanlike, that's a pretty clean game. The thing that really, just the two negatives is both about turnovers. We gave too many away and we didn't take any. I think if we gave one or two less away and we created one, that we would have been in the driver's seat and Sack would have had to been the one going down the field the last part of the game, trying to win the game. But, beggars can't be choosers. We got what we got. 4 interceptions. It's just kind of the devil we have to live with.
That's fair, Ben. Unfortunately, the devil we have to live with it's a very unfortunate phrase to try to spin into a Crave barbecue and hot dog ad. So I'm just gonna say, check out Crave Hot Dogs and Barbecue in Greeley, Colorado. Great atmosphere, great place on a Saturday. There are more TVs than there will be games on at any given point. So you're not gonna miss out on anything you want to watch. Great food. Haven't been disappointed by anything we've ordered yet. And there's a big menu, so there's still a lot to get to.
I mean, if you want to say you don't want the devil's cooking, you want something angelic in your mouth, head down to Crave.
Yeah, I agree, but then there's also like hot sauces and barbecue sauces that work in like the devil's spit. Like that type of. So
That's fair.
I, I
But most of theirs are very mild though, so I don't even think we could go off of the spicy because like their spicy is just flavorful rather than like geez, like doing a hot sauce competition here.
no, 100%. So go down, go say hi to Heath and Todd. Tell them Bear Claw Media sent you. Go support local business. They're doing really cool stuff down there. I love that place. But let's take a look ahead because as Coach Ed Lamb always likes to say, I say he always likes to say it. He said it in the press conference, and I've quoted it like 15 times since. The windshield is big and the rearview mirror is small for a reason. So we got to look ahead. Let's take a look to number 6, UC Davis. The poll's not out, but maybe people will be feeling you North Dakota enough to bump them ahead of UC Davis, but for all intents and purposes, 6 or 7, whatever. Very good team. One loss to a FBS Oregon program.
And then, of course, the delayed rain out
Yeah,
Mercer game.
which Mercer showing what their Mercer's one loss to Presbyterian is aging spectacularly, and Mercer has kind of recouped to where people, I think there was an overcorrection. Maybe at the time it wasn't an overcorrection, but I think the water's finding its balance and they're back to kind of a top 20 team, which I think they deserve at this point. So, but you're right, rained out or lightninged out, I guess we could say. No contest, but I think their last game coming off a bye. I don't love that, having 2 weeks to prepare. But Caden Pinnock kind of had a breakout game against Northern Arizona. 25 at 29, 348 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. But for whatever it's worth, I think that bodes well for UNC because our secondary is much better than our front, at least has proven to be better. And they only had two people take carries, a running back and then another running back. So, like, who's going to get the ball if they hand it off. So I think that's like night and day for what Sacramento State did and this go-go misdirection bullshit that I still love. I have a soft spot for everything Sac State. Even Luke Wood with the fucking cheesiest, corniest shit talk. I like the shit talk to Montana. He did it so bad. You could tell. I showed that video to Marcy and she was like, he has practiced that in the mirror so many times.
Oh,
But
yeah. He did that on the drive over, like, should I say pandas or should I say panthers? No, pandas, because they're bears.
no, so I still like I have a soft spot for all the things Sac State are doing, and I guess I'm going backwards. They ran like a big boy operation. The field, say what you want about it, it's not fantastic, but like they did
Holds a lot of
fireworks.
kids, though.
Yeah, and okay, this actually is worth going back to. There was a fight in the line to get in, and somebody like threw a trash can. Like
Damn.
it was full basically the whole first half because very late arriving crowd. And somewhere in the second quarter there was I don't want to call it a riot, a scrum. It was more than 2 people. It had
Dust
expanded,
up.
a dust up,
A
and
scuffle.
yeah, at some point somebody like threw a trash can and it was hilarious. But
Little bit of a Donnybrook.
yeah, there you go. Donnybrook. I haven't heard that in years. But it felt like you were at a CSU game. This like if CSU played it, I imagine it probably felt like a CSU game back at Hughes. Like I never went to one, but not quite as big or as flashy as Canvas is, but they did all the stuff. They had the fireworks, the light show, the giveaways, all the hubbubaloo that you would see at an FBS game. So they're doing their best. They are giving it the old college try, and it's a fun atmosphere.
Well, and the whole like little Yachty like concert afterwards, I heard that didn't go well, but
I,
it's a nice thought.
yeah,
It's a good try.
they're doing they do them after every home game. Little Yachty was by far the like biggest name. I guess the speakers cut out, and he like quit his show after 15 minutes. Like it was done before we left the field. Like it was
Oh no.
before we were in the buses and driving to the airport. That Little Yachty
Oh,
concert was done. But
bummer.
I'm with you though. It's cool that they're trying to do it, and that's awesome. Like I'm not even saying I'm sad they're leaving the Big Sky because like whatever, but like they're doing it. They're doing the stuff they should do to get to where they want to get to. I guess that's how I'll put it. But back to UC Davis. I completely tailspinned us there. I don't even know what I was
I
asking.
was gonna say, Chris, I'll give you a little time to catch your breath because we actually have some cool stats from across the Big Sky that include UNC being first in multiple things,
Oh,
and one is maybe something that we might have to keep an eye on the rest of the year. Um, I'm going to read receivers from 5 to 1, just to give you an idea of how good one is. Michael Briscoe, 578, 7 touchdowns. Tyson Nunnally, Idaho State, 502, 4 touchdowns. Michael Wortham, Montana, 6'10, 5 touchdowns. Michael Sulikov, Idaho State, 643, 4 touchdowns. Our boy, Carver Cheeks, 725, 5 touchdowns. I mean, I know it's early in the season. I know it's not as crazy as Alex Wesley, but this is very significant numbers for UNC, for us to be one leading the Big Sky at 7 games into it, and also like we haven't seen offensive production like this from a receiver in a long, long time. This is pretty crazy.
No, Alex Wesley, you 100% is the one you have to go back to. And I think Carver Cheeks maybe passed Wesley's career high with this 223-yard performance. I think it's very close. I think Alex Wesley had like 213 in one game. But it's wild. Ben, you voted him for preseason all conference, I think. And even though I've been the one who's been much higher on him throughout his career, you were the one who had the balls to do that, and I think I
I
went with
did, and I don't
Monroe.
feel bad about it now because
No,
like dude's just absolutely
you're
having
right.
like a Jordan-esque season.
Yeah, no, you were 1000% right to do that. This was a kudos I was giving you.
I was like, yeah, like it's pretty crazy. And then like we do have some others like floating around the top 10, but as far as like closest to top 5 we have in other categories, we do have Hudson Voguser. He
There's
is
no go for it. Sorry.
he's sixth on tackles at 59 total.
There's no way Eric Gibson's not in the top 5 in Big Sky passing yards because I think he's probably second or
Okay,
no, he's going to
Gibson
be third.
is 5th.
Really? It's a yacht.
Ayala,
Pennington,
Jordan Cook, Ty Pennington,
Cook.
Caden Pinnick.
Really? How far is he behind Pinnock?
Um,
Not per game. Or nah, the it per game would not per game but total.
how is this ranking? Okay. This is ranking by average per game. Okay, I'll do it by yards.
I'm going to
By
say he's third.
yards, second.
Oh, he passed the yacht, or
No,
did he
Ayat
pass?
is leading it with 2,042 yards, 14 touchdowns. Oof. He got way better throughout the year.
He
He does
passed
have 6
Pennington.
interceptions to his name. Unfortunately, Gibson tallied up quite a bit this game, so he has at 1,817, 9 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Ty Pennington keeping it clean. 1802, 10 touchdowns to 2 interceptions.
Okay. Yeah, that tracks because I was looking. He was if Gibson had played that first Shadron game and just got his average, he would be a top 5 FCS passer. So I imagined he was top 5 Big Sky.
Okay, here's our challenge for the next 2 weeks is pick off the next 2 quarterbacks because they don't have as many yards as Gibson, but Caden Pinnick, 14-14 for yards and 16 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Justin Lamson, Montana State, 1402 with 12 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. So both of them are keeping it clean. I know they don't have nearly the amount of attempts that we do. They're both about 75 attempts behind Gibson, but that should be a definite goal going forward. Also, we will see one of the top 3 rushers from the league, Jordan Fisher. He is at 480, 489 and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't love that. I could see it. I wish we were in a spot where we could bet college players props because UNC, the running back, the top back facing UNC is just a gold mine because there's no way they're putting them at like 120 yards, and I think that's where I would put it, especially if they're one of these, Jordan Fisher, Eli Gilman types. Uh,
If we're going by straight yards, Rodney Hammond went up to 503 after this past weekend, and Fisher sits at 4th because he's 3rd in average, 4th in yards. Fisher is at 489 for yards.
okay, so that's I think if we can, I think we have to contain Pinnock is my because I think we're gonna. It's just a tall task to just completely shore up the run defense, and maybe I think if we can keep them from being able to convert 3rd and 9s, I think we'll get enough stops in the run game, like a tackle for loss on 1st down, and then it's 2nd and 13, and maybe a 5 yard gain or a little, short pass, and force them into 3rd and longs. And if we can contain Pinnock, which I I don't want to say I like our odds at. I think Ben, if he's 25 for 29 with 348 and 5 touchdowns, I'll shove a burrito up my ass. That seems to be the Twitter college football bet. So I I say that to say I think if we can, we just have to keep him to what we've been doing and keeping these quarterbacks to like 50% completion and 200 yards or less, and I think we'll be in pretty good shape.
Well, and as far as like keeping our quarterback in good shape, we are actually second in sacks allowed. We're only at 5. Idaho State, surprisingly and very impressively, only at 2 this season.
Damn.
UC
One of
Davis
those.
is last at 19.
Okay, I saw Pinnock in the game against NAU had 7 attempts for negative 33 yards. So he was sacked, yeah, a bunch.
They're
Um,
also third to last in interceptions, so that helps us, this coming week. Hopefully, with Rex Connors out, we won't be as scared to throw the ball down the field. Just let Gibson try to regain some confidence. Interesting kind of flip flop where we share with UC Davis in team stats. They are first in forced fumbles. We are third. We are first in fumbles recovered. They are third.
okay, that's interesting. Also, going back to the offensive line, Sac State they were one of the top FCS teams in sacks and tackles for loss and getting the quarterback. And the one sack that Gibson took was he ran out of bounds 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage on like a weird scramble play. So like the offensive line did a fantastic job of keeping him upright, and he does a good part of that. There was one very impressive scramble on a Monroe big chunk play that it wasn't a touchdown, but it's like a 40-yard gain. He like kind of stepped up and then was like running away from a defender and hit Monroe, who was wide open, but just on the sideline, who broke one tackle, then streaked down. Would have been heading left on the TV broadcast because once again, Sac State puts a second and a half of thought into their things, and they put the camera on the side that shows the full stands instead of what every other Big Sky school does and shows the visitor stands that are half full at best.
Right. And here's another thing that might knock your socks off so far, Chris. I know it's early. Well, it's not early in the season, it's past the halfway point, but something that we might not have ever thought we would hear as Bears fans. We have the third best passing offense in the Big Sky. As far as offensive efficiency goes, we're fourth. And then you go into defensive passing, we're first in the Big Sky. And for defensive efficiency, we're also first.
I'm not surprised about that. The pass offense, I never would have expected. The pass defense has been stout all year. I think the man coverage has worked. Lamb has the guys he wants in there. Derek Jones Jr. and McKay Toms. I think that's how the pronunciation guide says to say it, and that's I've said it 2 different ways, neither of which have been that. McKee, that's what it is. I've said it 4 different ways or 3 different ways, and none of which had been right. But yeah, I have a lot of confidence in the pass defense, which I think stems from the secondary having a lot of confidence in themselves. Because I thought last year when the secondary was flying around and playing with some bravado and some confidence, they looked really good against Abilene Christian and uh, Maverick MacGyver, who was like a top passer in the country. And then we saw them get torched by any given quarterback late in the season after they had kind of had all their confidence just zapped out of them.
Right. And then, like, also the come to Jesus moment, we're also 10th in rushing for offense and 10th in rush defense. So that's kind of our Achilles heel per se. I would say we're better in rushing than it shows on paper. But obviously, like our 867 yards and 11 touchdowns is much different than per se Sacramento State 1731 to 20. I'm gonna asterisk that a little bit and kind of mark it down to like maybe Montana State. That's a little bit more true of like 1580 and 17, but also we're not floating in those kind of categories for rushing. But we also have Gibson and like our team. I'll look up our team stats, but yeah, we went from 10.4 points per game last year to I'm not even sure what we have this year because it's way more than that.
Yeah, no, UNC's points per game is because I think it was at 24 heading into this one. So probably be at 25, 26 because it's only going to move it so far. But it's crazy having, and it against
Saying that we
Idaho.
got 14 points better as an offense is just night and day for the fans. I
And
know we need more wins to be competitive and be in the big boy conversations, but we're at least having big boy numbers.
it's so encouraging, and it's frustrating to hear Lamb. I'll say it's frustrating to hear Lamb say, like, we don't want to pivot too much from what we're doing on just a week of practice. We've talked about it a lot, but they had the bye. They tweaked the offense to fit Eric Gibson Jr., and now it's worth. Like, they figured out whatever they needed to figure out. Like, it took a bye, which I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say they did a lot of more tweaks than are obvious to my naked eye. But whatever it is, it's obviously working because it's turning all the yards they were gaining into touchdowns, and that was the whole thing. We were like, how the hell can't we get in the end zone?
I think we all knew this is the solution. I think none of us knew how we were going to get there. And I don't think, if you told me at the beginning of the year, it's going to be Eric Gibson throwing just dozens and dozens of 30-yard like fade
Fades.
plays to Carver Cheeks, and Carver
Redacted
Cheeks
would
is
have
going to
told
be
you.
our savior. Like, I would
Redacted
have
would
been
have
like,
told you
what?
that that's what he's been good at this whole time.
Yeah, I'm over here like, okay, like this guy looks like kind of shitty in the spring game. Like, not gonna lie, everybody who wasn't named Castelli was almost missing a barn when they were throwing at it, and it was like now it's like, wow, this guy's like really refined his craft. He stepped into an unexpected opening, and I think he's made the most of it. I think he's been a shining example of like kind of like Kyle Sloter is like he stepped up, he looked great, and as long as he continues to look great, I think we're in good shape. And of course, 4 interceptions, bad, but I'm still like fully believe Gibson can clean it up. I think it's all, I think it's like we've been chomping at the bit to like release the leash, just let him go, let him just cook per se. And I think he kind of cooked without instructions this time in the fourth quarter. I think he was like, man, like I spilled some stew on the instructions. I'm not sure what to do. I'm just gonna like do what feels natural. Wasn't it? So I think it was just he just needs a little bit of refinement, a little bit of like a way to kind of settle down when like things get in those like back and forth, score versus score versus score. Like we need you to score again. We need you to score again. Like I think he does a great job. He just needs to fine tune it to like, okay, like keep your composure. Don't let that like guy sitting in the middle trick you. Like just go after every read. Sometimes the mistakes are just gonna happen no matter what, but like if he just like reins it in just a little bit, I think that's a sweet spot.
No, I think you're right, and I think we saw it a bit in Houston Christian with those two pick sixes. Is I think the coaches. I don't want to say like the coaches know better than the fans because obviously they do, but like as fans, you nailed it. We're like, we need to unleash him, like let Eric Gibson Jr. cook. And I think Walter Scheid's actually done a really good job of like keeping the reins pulled just tight enough on him most of the year. And it slipped away from him
It
a
got us
bit.
through Idaho.
Yeah. So I'm just reiterating your points at this stage. So you nailed it. Is there anything else you want to touch on? I have two tales from the road trip that are kind of funny, but I think I have exhausted my opinions on this team.
So you've just about you just about hit it for points per game. It did go up a little bit, but not a lot. But also, Chris, how nice is it to say that we are at
It
25.57
starts with a
per
2 even.
points per game? Like,
That's
holy
so
crap!
awesome.
Last year was like 10.4 that we ended on. It was like, oh god, like this is painful to watch. Like this is almost worse than the McCaffrey ball.
No, that yeah, just the fact that it starts with a 2 is incredibly encouraging. But the two things that I took away from this road trip, and I kind of forgot the more entertaining one, but one was there's probably only there's not a ton of crossover between listeners here and the listeners who like listen on pirate radio, but I bet it's not zero. So there was pregame interview, which you do when we're at home, I do when we're on the road. I said, Coach, I know you said something along the lines of like winner of this game kind of has an inside track to the playoffs. Uh, and, you know, be like fourth or fifth in the Big Sky, which is kind of like where the line is drawn. And he was like, did I say that? Uh, I'd really like if you said that, basically. And I was like, wait a minute, did he not say that? I vividly remember him saying like,
He's
basically,
trying to get you on one of those golden game type things
no,
that he did last year.
yeah, you know, that's the one I thought back to. I was like, I've been had before where my memory betrayed me. Listen to the coaches show, which I did with Jacob this week. He said literally, the winner of this game has the inside track, verbatim. And so I felt very vindicated on that one. Um, and then what was the second one? Well, it must not have been that important if I can't remember it. So I
I
guess
don't know, the trash can fight was pretty entertaining in my eyes. A
that's
little a
true.
little bit of AEW action over there.
It was awesome because it like the whole crowd just went from sitting to just standing up to try to see what happened. Like all probably 15,000 people that were in the stadium at that point.
Just everybody's getting their phones out like World Star.
Literally, literally. But all right. As always, if you like what we're doing, please, please, please like, comment, subscribe, review. Tell your mom to like, comment, subscribe, review. Have her share with her book club and or walking club and or
Wine Club.
yeah, the wine club would probably have a pretty good time. I got to admit. But if you don't like what we're doing, the complaint department for Bear Claw Media is always open. That is at Bear Claw Media on
Or
Twitter.
you're probably Dr. Luke Wood, who will respond and reply, but not actually to me specifically.
Did he really do that?
Yeah, he wouldn't. He was like, "Well, thanks for being the voice of reason." It's like, okay, Panda Boy, okay,
Wait,
but
he
like, yeah,
responded to a reply on your tweet about him.
yeah,
Ooh, okay.
that's
We made
okay.
it.
I'll rock
That's
with classy Andy Feinstein any day, brother.
Andy Feinstein, winner in my eyes of going on these road trips. He's like very personable. We'll talk to absolutely everybody. Um,
Also seems like a fun guy from what
just
you've heard.
a fun, yeah, 100%. Like stock is up for Andy Feinstein. Stock is down for a certain other administrator, but we will leave it at that. So yeah, hit Ben up on Twitter if you want to bitch about anything going on, especially what I just said there. So as always, have a good one.